Hi everyone, welcome back to our Truth Files channel, where forgotten American history finally comes alive. Today, we're diving deep into the lost city of the Jaguar Kings, a story that rewrites everything we thought we knew about our beginnings. America lies one of archaeology's most stunning discoveries, a city so magnificent that when explorers first stumbled upon it, they could barely believe their eyes. This is the story of how an advanced civilization rose from the jungle, created architectural marvels that would rival anything in the ancient world, and then vanished, leaving behind stone monuments that would sleep undisturbed for over 1,000 years. The Maya civilization wasn't just a single kingdom or empire. It was a collection of city-states that flourished across what is now Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, and El Salvador. At their peak, these cities were home to millions of people who had mastered mathematics, astronomy, and engineering in ways that continue to astound modern scientists. But among all the Maya cities, one stands apart for its sheer scale, its artistic achievement, and the mystery surrounding its sudden collapse. Tikal, located in the dense Petén rainforest of Guatemala, was one of the most powerful Maya cities that ever existed. At its height during the Classic period, between 200 and 900 CE, Tikal was home to anywhere from 100,000 to 200,000 people, making it larger than most European cities of the same era. The city stretched across more than 6 square miles of urban core, with suburban areas extending much further into the jungle. What makes Tikal truly remarkable are its massive pyramid temples. The tallest of these, Temple 4, rises 212 feet above the jungle floor. When it was completed around 740 CE, it was the tallest structure in the Americas and would remain so for centuries. Standing at its summit today, visitors can see the tops of other temples piercing through the jungle canopy, creating a view that must have been even more spectacular when the city was alive and its buildings were covered in brilliant red, white, and other colorful plasters. The Maya didn't just build impressive structures. They were master mathematicians who independently invented the concept of zero, something that even the ancient Greeks and Romans never achieved. They developed a sophisticated writing system with over 800 glyphs that could represent sounds, syllables, and complete ideas. For decades, scholars struggled to decipher Maya script, but breakthrough work in the 1950s and 1960s revealed that the inscriptions covering Maya monuments weren't just religious texts or calendars. They were historical records detailing the lives of kings, their conquests, their rituals, and their family lineages. Through these inscriptions, we know the names of actual Maya rulers. King Jasar Chan Kawil I ruled Tikal in the late 7th and early 8th centuries and was responsible for many of the city's greatest buildings. His tomb, discovered beneath Temple 1, contained jade jewelry, carved bones, and pottery that demonstrate the incredible wealth and artistry of Maya civilization. The tomb itself is an architectural marvel, designed to support the massive weight of the pyramid built above it. If you're amazed by our ancestors, the lost city of the Jaguar Kings, our goal on this video is to get 500 likes. Drop a comment about your favorite fact and subscribe to join the Truth Files. But Tikal wasn't the only great Maya city. Hundreds of miles to the northwest, in what is now the Mexican state of Chiapas, another magnificent city called Palenque clung to the foothills of the Sierra Madre. Palenque was smaller than Tikal, but arguably even more beautiful. Its elegant buildings featured corbelled arches, elaborate stucco decorations, and some of the finest Maya art ever created. In 1952, Mexican archaeologist Alberto Ruiz-Lhuillier made one of the most important archaeological discoveries of the 20th century at Palenque. Deep inside the Temple of the Inscriptions, he found a hidden stairway that led down into the heart of the pyramid. At the bottom, in a burial chamber that had been sealed for over 1,300 years, lay the tomb of Kinich Janab Pakal, one of the greatest Maya rulers who ever lived. Pakal had ruled Palenque for 68 years, from 615 to 683 CE. He transformed a relatively minor city into one of the Maya world's most important cultural centers. His jade death mask, still covering his face when the tomb was opened, has become one of the most iconic images of ancient America. The carved stone slab covering his sarcophagus shows him at the moment of death, falling into the jaws of the underworld, while simultaneously being reborn as a god. The sophistication of this imagery, combining concepts of death, rebirth, and divine transformation, reveals a civilization with complex philosophical and religious ideas. The Maya were obsessed with time. They created not one, but multiple calendar systems that worked together with incredible precision. Their long count calendar could measure time spans of millions of years. They calculated the length of the solar year to 365.2420 days, which is remarkably close to the modern calculation of 365.2422 days. They tracked the cycles of Venus with such accuracy that their calculations were more precise than those of the 16th century European astronomers. This astronomical knowledge wasn't just academic, it was deeply integrated into Maya religion and political power. Kings scheduled wars, rituals, and the dedication of monuments to coincide with astronomical events. Solar eclipses, the appearance of Venus as the morning or evening star, and other celestial phenomena were all incorporated into the complex calendar of Maya life. The Maya also played a ball game that was both sport and religious ritual. Ball courts can be found at nearly every major Maya site. The game was played with a heavy rubber ball that players could only hit with their hips, elbows, and knees. The rules varied from place to place and changed over time, but in some versions, the game ended with human sacrifice. Carved panels at sites like Chichen Itza show players being beheaded, their blood fertilizing the earth. Whether the winners or losers were sacrificed remains debated, but the game clearly had profound religious significance, often representing the cosmic battle between the forces of life and death. But the Maya story isn't unique to Central America. Across the ancient Americas, sophisticated civilizations were rising and falling, each leaving their mark on the landscape. In the deserts of the American Southwest, the ancestral Puebloans, sometimes called the Anasazi, were building elaborate cliff dwellings and massive stone complexes. At Chaco Canyon in what is now New Mexico, between 850 and 1250 CE, the ancestral Puebloans constructed a series of massive buildings called Great Houses. Pueblo Bonito, the largest of these, contained over 600 rooms and rose 4 stories high. The precision of its construction is remarkable. The walls were built with careful attention to astronomical alignments, and the complex was connected to dozens of other sites across the region by an elaborate system of straight roads. These weren't simple dirt paths. Chacoan roads were engineered features, up to 30 feet wide, cut through or built up over the landscape. Some sections even had stone borders. The roads connected Chaco Canyon to outlying communities up to 50 miles away, creating a regional system that suggests political or religious authority radiating out from the canyon. What's particularly mysterious is that the Chacoans never used wheeled vehicles or pack animals, so these grand roads weren't built for trade or transportation in the conventional sense. They may have served ceremonial purposes, linking sacred sites and allowing pilgrimages. The Chacoans also demonstrated sophisticated astronomical knowledge. Windows and doorways in some buildings aligned with solar and lunar events. At Fajada Butte, the famous sun dagger petroglyph marks the summer solstice, equinoxes, and other astronomical events with remarkable precision. These alignments suggest that the Chacoans, like the Maya, saw deep connections between cosmic cycles and earthly affairs. But around 1150 CE, Chaco Canyon was gradually abandoned. The reasons remain debated. Evidence suggests a combination of drought, deforestation, and possibly social upheaval. The massive construction projects had required enormous amounts of timber, which had to be carried from forests that were increasingly distant as local trees were exhausted. Climate records show that the region experienced a severe drought in the mid-12th century. Without reliable water and with their support system strained, the Chacoans dispersed, with some groups moving to areas with more reliable water sources. Even further north, in the Mississippi River Valley, another great civilization was flourishing. Cahokia, located near modern-day St. Louis, Missouri, was the largest pre-Columbian city north of Mexico. At its peak, around 1100 CE, Cahokia was home to perhaps 15,000 to 20,000 people, with as many as 40,000 living in the surrounding region. This made it larger than London at the same time. The most striking features of Cahokia are its massive earthen mounds. The largest, Monk's Mound, is a terraced pyramid covering 14 acres at its base and rising 100 feet high. It contains approximately 22 million cubic feet of earth, all moved by human labor, using nothing but baskets. On its summit stood a large wooden building that was likely the residence of the city's paramount chief, or served some important ceremonial function. If you're still here, you're one of the rare few who truly care about the real origins of the lost city of the Jaguar Kings, not just the visuals, but the truth behind them. Cahokia wasn't just big, it was carefully planned. The city was laid out along a north-south axis, aligned with the cardinal directions. A large plaza covered 50 acres at the city's center, used for public gatherings, ceremonies, and possibly sporting events. Archaeologists have discovered that the Cahokians built a massive wooden structure they call Woodhenge, a circle of tall posts that functioned as a solar calendar, similar to Stonehenge in England. Standing at the center of this circle, an observer could track the position of sunrise throughout the year, marking solstices and equinoxes. The people of Cahokia were connected to a vast trading network that extended from the Great Lakes to the Gulf of Mexico and from the Atlantic coast to the Rocky Mountains. Archaeological excavations have found copper from the Great Lakes region, shells from the Gulf Coast, mica from the Appalachian Mountains, and other exotic materials that traveled hundreds or thousands of miles to reach Cahokia. But Cahokia also had a darker side. In one burial mound, archaeologists discovered a mass grave containing 53 young women, all killed at the same time, likely as human sacrifices. Another burial shows a man laid to rest on a platform made of 20,000 shell beads, accompanied by hundreds of fine arrow points and other prestige goods. Near his body lay the remains of 53 women of childbearing age, 4 men with their heads and hands missing, and several other individuals. The scale of these sacrifices suggests a society with significant social hierarchy and rulers who wielded tremendous power over life and death. Our ancestors' stories don't end here. They're just waiting to be rediscovered. Smash that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to join the Truth Files for the next epic chapter of our forgotten history. Comments: The Lost City of the Jaguar Kings. For next part.